And this next lesson is all about your to-do list. Making a to-do list is actually surprisingly quite controversial. I've seen many people say, oh, you shouldn't do a to-do list. It's just not right. I don't know exactly what their reasons are, but the people who say you shouldn't keep a to-do list think that it will make you stressed or confused or unfocused. I'm not sure what's going through their mind. I am not sure what's going through their mind because personally it helps me out a whole lot. Whether this helps you out, it depends on how you approach your list. Approaching your to-do list in an effective way will help you to become more organized and focused on what you need to get done each day, week, or month. Each goal you focus on must align with your big goal. You don't want to have anything on your list that doesn't really align unless it's something that's required. For example, if your office, if your boss assigns you something, that's kind of required. No matter what your personal big goal is, on the side, you have to do what your boss says if you want to keep your job, right? So more on that in the following lessons with the aligning with the big goal. I'll give you some rules to follow while making your to-do list in this lesson. 1, keep it simple. You don't want to be overwhelmed by a list of 50 things you need to accomplish. That's why I only write things I need to get done during one day. You need to know your big goal. You need to know the big picture, but you also need to break it down into small pieces. There's no sense in stressing yourself out over the things you can't possibly get done in the 16 waking hours during one day. So be aware about the types of things you put on your list. For me, I only put the major items on my list. For example, finish creating outline for presentation in February. All the minuscule items I keep in my head. For example, take out the trash. Read 20 pages. I don't need to write that down on my to-do list because those are already my habits. I've already built them up. Maybe 5 years ago, I would have written read 20 pages. But now, no. So if it helps for you to write something like that, if it has not become a habit, then write it down on your list. It's okay. This is something that should come automatically. In fact, the more automatic your habits become, the easier they will become to do. Definitely read Atomic Habits. That will help you out big time. The second thing I have here is big tasks first. Always take care of your big tasks first, or should I say the most important ones. It's okay if you take care of habitual habits before hitting your big task. For example, I always read about 30 minutes to 1 hour before I knock out my big tasks for the day. Reading for me, it's like gas for my brain. It's the kickstarter to get my day off the road, off on the right foot. After I do my ritual reading, I can hit my other tasks very hard. If you get the hardest ones out of the way first, it'll be much, much better than saving them for last. 1, because you'll have more energy to do them. And 2, because you'll have more time to truly focus on them. And, take my advice for the reading habit as well. Like going back to that, if you habitually read before you start anything else in the morning, it is much, much better. Even if you only read for 15 minutes, that's okay. So starting in the morning, before you do anything else, like I said, it's like gas for your brain. The next rule here is be specific. When writing down any goal, whether big or small, you should be as specific as possible. Don't write work on project. That's not very specific at all. I don't know what that means. If I were to pick up your list, I don't know what it is. Maybe you know what it is, but it really helps to be specific, even for you. Even if you know what work on project means, it's better to be specific. So instead, write, find 5 sources related to thesis of project. Whoa, that's a lot more specific, right? Because then your specific thing that you need to get done is to find the 5 sources, right? So be specific. That way you can accomplish those specific goals. You see how specific this one is. Now you know exactly what you have to do. Keep yourself accountable and accomplish that goal. Next is break it down. The example above, find 5 sources related to thesis of project, is not only specific, but also broken down from a larger piece. The larger piece is your project, which will be presented in front of a department faculty at your university. The goal here is to make larger tasks more doable by breaking them down into smaller ones. It makes it a lot more comfortable, a lot more easy, a lot less frightening, right? To break it into smaller pieces. Next here is set your priorities. Every single item that moves to your to-do list should be a priority. Nothing on that list is a mediocre thing, right? You need to have it high priority if it's on that to-do list. You can have several other lists of ideas that you may start as a way to keep your priorities separate. That main to-do list, the one that you will actually take action on, are the ones that will bring you closer to reaching your big goal. So the main point here is to keep your list separate. Keep it clear so you know what you need to do to work towards your big goal. And even on your main lists of things to do, you need to prioritize each thing. How to prioritize? Time. Decide on a rough timetable you'll be completing your tasks in. What I do is look at the following. 1, the total amount of time I have in a day, excluding like work, right? Maybe I have to go to work for 8 hours, so I can't really do anything during those 8 hours of work. 2, the amount of tasks I have. 3, the level of difficulty of each task. 4, the priority of each task. 5, then estimate how long each task will take to complete partially or fully. 6, write the amount of time you'll spend on each task next to it. 7, write the approximate time I'll start and end working on the task. 8, start a new to-do list every single day. If you want to be even more efficient, you can write it the night before. The tasks that you have not finished yet will move on to the list the following day. Just be careful not to let these tasks go piling up on you. You need to make sure you get the overdue ones done, and even better, finish them on time. So yes, it is such a great strategy to do, and I do highly recommend writing your to-do list every single day. That's what I said here is start a new to-do list every single day. So you're going to write it out on a new piece of paper or in your notebook or in your Google Docs or in an app every single day. To be honest, your schedule will not be perfect. And actually, that's okay if it's not perfect. You may not start a task at the exact time you want to start it at the exact time you wrote it on your paper. A task may take longer than you actually expected as well. It's okay. Just do your best. And if you have to, just move on to the next item on your list and save the work you didn't finish on the previous item for the next day. Just use your list as a general guide to help keep your life organized and on track towards your big goal. Best yet, remember to try and make as many tasks as you can a routine. Make those tasks a routine or a habit, if possible, if they're not just a one-shot and done task, right? If the task you're working on will take several weeks, maybe even months to finish, then try working on it at the same time and location every day. If you can, have the same routine before and after you finish your task. This will ingrain productivity into every aspect of your life, especially this particular task. Now, if you have any questions about how to make an efficient to-do list, please let me know, then we can discuss. Until then, I'd like to see a draft of your first to-do list for any of the days this week. Send it to matt@bookmatic.com.